Colombia finished top of Group K. A goalless draw against Portugal upsets those that thought it would be Cristiano Ronaldo's side advancing top. In fact, it's Colombia who go through, and certainly on the easier side of the draw. Welcome in to the ESPN FC studios. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Don Hutchison and Stephen Nicol. What a show we have for you today. So much late drama in the late game, as it looked like Austria would be going home, but a substitute comes on in the 95th minute, scores the equaliser in the 96th minute. Austria advance. We have the full bracket now. We will be hearing from the boys and seeing their bracket predictions later on in the show, plus an exclusive interview with Jurgen Klopp. But where do we start? Let's start, shall we, with Colombia against Portugal. Portugal fancied by many to go a long way in this competition. However, they're going to have to do it the hard way after finishing second in Group K. Colombia get the win. Congo DR advance with a 3-1 victory over Uzbekistan. They will play England. We'll talk about that a little later on in the show. But let's focus on Colombia against Portugal, where, Don, I think it's fair to say, 0-0 draw, but not your standard 0-0 draw. It was very entertaining. And Colombia were the better team, weren't they?
I totally agree. I think before a ball was kicked, when you look at the group there, you think Portugal on the top of the group. But when they played each other today, I thought Portugal looked leggy, but credit Colombia. I thought they tried to run all over them. They got the ball in wide areas. They got crosses in. They were a threat. They had more energy. They had more quality. And they'll take the point and advance. But when you look at all the stats as well, it all bears fruit that you think. And probably Colombia should have won the game.
What's going on with Portugal, Stevie? Because this felt a lot more like the DR Congo performance than the one we saw against Uzbekistan.
Yeah, well, again today, going forward in the final third, they just didn't look sharp. But on top of that as well, I think more worryingly for Portugal, they couldn't contain Colombia in the middle of the park. You know, you see the amount of shots, 24 shots. That tells you that you can't stop the opposition. And so, before the ball's kicked, Portugal's one of the favourites. But considering what we've seen from them so far, there are question marks about them going forward. And after today, I think there's question marks about them from a defensive point in the middle of the park.
Inevitably, there'll be questions about Cristiano Ronaldo, as there always is, Don. What did you make of his impact today?
I didn't think he was the worst player. I just thought he didn't really have too much service. I think he's been asked to run into wide areas and come short and try and link the play. I think with Ronaldo at 41, I think you've just got to tell him, play the width of the 18-yard box, rely on João Felix and Neto, Bruno Fernandes, etc. to get him service. I think you've got to simplify the game for him. He knows what he is now, Ronaldo. He's a goal scorer. You know, he's coming up to nearly 1,000 goals. Just say to him, listen, you don't have to run back. You don't have to chase into wide areas. We're not expecting that anymore. You can't do that at 41. And the biggest question is, which will always be and go against Roberto Martinez, have you got the gumption if it's not going well to take him off? Gonzalo Ramos is sitting on the bench thinking, I'm a number 9. Is there any chance of bringing me on for 5 minutes? I might nick you a goal, or 15 or half an hour. It's not going to happen. So you've got to say to Ronaldo, right, we are going to simplify the game for you. We're going to make it as easy as possible. You can score goals. We'll get you chances.
You take a look at his stats, Stephen. They're not particularly impressive from a man who has the record that he does.
No. If Ronaldo hadn't had Ronaldo on the back of his jersey, he would have looked like an ordinary player. You wouldn't have been able to spot a guy who scored 900 and something goals and has had the career he's had.
See that though, Stevie? 2 touches in the box. All his work done outside the box.
And the thing is, as you said, you don't want him anywhere outside the box. You don't want him running in behind.
Right.
You know, particularly in this World Cup, he's been offside more times than I can remember because he knows that he needs to try and get a head start on the defenders because he doesn't have the pace. And so he's running offside. And then he ends up in a wide area. And why is he in a wide area? Because he's not beating anybody. He can't go past anybody. So the only place he has to be is in the penalty box. But even then, he's pretty much invisible. So today, yes, Don said he wasn't the worst. But we're talking about Ronaldo here. We're not talking about a run-of-the-mill player. We're talking about a guy who's supposed to make the difference. And certainly if you have a centre-forward who doesn't look as though, A, he's going to be in the penalty box if a ball's put in, and B, he doesn't look like he's going to score a goal, why is he on the field?
And he's on the field for a whole match. And let's not forget, this is a game that actually really mattered when it came to who would top the group, and we'll talk about the bracket in a moment. There was definitely an easier option, and finishing top as Colombia did does give them that to advance further in the competition without a bigger test as Portugal in a face. Yet you're playing Ronaldo for the whole game.
And that's the worry, because then you question the manager, then you question the relationship between player and manager. Has he got too much power? It probably looks that way, because why is Roberto Martinez not taking him off? Why is he... And if you don't want to take him off, why are you not putting another centre forward on? Put Ramos on alongside him to ask, to take the donkey work and the leg work off Ronaldo. But it just feels as though Ronaldo's got that power where he's the captain, he doesn't want to come off, he's chasing records, he wants to win, and that's great. And he's got the ego, which is great, because it tells you what a legendary player he's been, but he needs help. He absolutely needs some help, and that's either being given a partner to help him or take him off and give someone else a chance to go and get the winner for them, because, as you said, it was important that they try to top the group.
And it's a top-heavy bracket, so let's just take a look at what Portugal will face. Now that they finished at second, they take on Croatia in the next round, and then they face Spain in the round of 16. Right. Spain is another team that have underwhelmed us so far in this tournament, and if it works out the way that we think it will in that round of 16, that's going to be a fascinating contest.
Yeah, it is, and it's kind of going to, for me, it's going to come down to who possesses the ball the best, because at their best, both of these sides have, particularly in the middle of the park, players that can keep the ball. Again, tonight we didn't see that against Colombia for Portugal, and unfortunately for Spain, that's one thing that I think they've let themselves down with this in this World Cup so far. So it's going to be tough to pick a winner, but at the end of the day, you have to think of which team at the best should win.
Right.
I think you've got to go with Spain.
What's wrong with them? What's wrong with Portugal, Don?
Portugal. I think what Stevie mentioned there is having quality players. You look at João Neves and Ruben Neves, Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes. It just looks like, to me, it's a team on paper. And that's why I think I look at them thinking they should go far in the tournament, but they're not, because they don't play as a team. And they didn't dominate the ball. When you look at that midfield today against Colombia, who were very, very good and stopped them from playing, you look at PSG's Vitinha and João Neves and you know how good they are. Why can't they control a game like they do for PSG? That's the worry, I think, for Roberto Martinez.
I think the one thing that stuck out for me tonight, I've mentioned that I thought the middle of the park didn't get its job done defensively, but the team as a unit, when they lost the ball, there were way too many holes. And Colombia is a side who, when they get the ball, they want to go forward and they want to do it as quickly as they can, which is why they're exciting to watch.
Sure.
Now, it didn't work out tonight, particularly with Luis Diaz. He's a guy who every single chance he gets, he's either having a shot or he's taking somebody on, he's cutting inside. He's exciting to watch, but it wasn't his night tonight. And so in some ways, Portugal were lucky that they got a point, because the amount of times that Colombia got at them, and we saw, as I said, 24 shots. How you don't score with 24 shots with the quality they have. But yeah, Colombia for me absolutely deserve to win this game.
I alluded to it at the start. Let's take a look at Colombia's side of the bracket, and it's nice. Obviously Argentina in the quarterfinals if things work out, but leading up to that, they're taking on a Ghana side that you feel that are beatable, and then Switzerland or Algeria, and we saw Algeria, of course, book their place just now with that 3-3 draw. But if you're Colombia, you're loving life, aren't you?
You are, and you have to be respectful of Ghana.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, no, I get that. You have to be respectful, you have to do your analysis, but when you look at the bracket there's no reason why they can't meet Argentina in the quarters. The side of that draw is favourable, and if they play the way they did today and in the last two games, there's no reason why they can't beat Argentina.
Goals.
Yep.
That's going to be their only problem. As I said, they're strong at the back, they love defending, they love getting forward, they got pace. Can they get the goals? That's the one question I would have.
So Colombia looking good to go maybe deep in this tournament to the quarter-finals. Meanwhile, DR Congo in this group, coming from behind to beat Uzbekistan by 3-1. Newcastle's finest, with a brace in that game, Don. Enough to see them advance. This was a fun match to watch because they were going for it, and in the end they got what they deserved.
Yeah, I mean, Uzbekistan have been the whipping boys of their group, but you have to credit DR Congo. I mean, they've been a joy to watch, haven't they? I mean, whether the fans are dancing inside the stadium and the colour that you see at home and the flags and the noise and the atmosphere that they create, but the team match them. They play forward, they have a go, they're exciting. Better teams will beat them when they go deep into the competition. But when you watch them, you get joy by watching them because they're a good side and they entertain.
DR Congo will be facing England in the next round. We'll be discussing that later on, and we'll also be reflecting on Lionel Messi scoring more goals. Just a reminder, extra time is when we stay late to answer some of your questions. Today is no exception. You can catch that on our YouTube channel.